valuable time and contribution, sir.
Thank you. I congratulate the participants as well. वो बहुत ही अच्छे थे और बहुत भी क्वेश्चंस पूछे उन्होंने. I thank you all and best of luck for the next session. Okay.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you. Okay, can I leave?
Yes, sir, you can. Yes, sir.
Okay. Thank you so much.
So, participants, we now begin the second session of day 2. As you know, today's schedule includes 2 enriching sessions, and we thank you for your contingent engagement. It's my pleasure to introduce our second speaker and active member of Jammu Economic Association for today's second session, Dr. Naveed Ahmad Lone. Dr. Lone is currently serving as Assistant Professor of Economics in Department of Higher Education, Jammu and Kashmir. He earned from Baba Saheb Bhimrao Ambedkar University, Central University, Lucknow. Dr. Lone's primary research interests is monetary economics, social development, and Islamic finance. He has published over a dozen research papers in reputed national and international journals. He has also completed an ICSSR-funded research project on financial inclusion. Notably, he serves as an editor for various international journals. Is also member of the board of studies for UG, PG, IG programs across the various universities, and has contributed to the curriculum development under NEP 2020. In this session, Dr. Lone will take up us through the simple and multiple linear regression part second, continuing the foundational work from the previous sessions that we have and diving deeper into its applications and interpretations. We are honored to have with us today. With that, I now hand over the session to Dr. Naveed. Over to you, sir.
Thank you, OWAIS Ismail Sam. This is really an honor and pleasure for me to share some of the thoughts with the participants regarding the already discussed topic by Dr. Syed Suhail Yaqub. Although the challenge in this very presentation is a major portion of the presentation had been covered by Dr. Suhail, and second more important challenge is participants are already in this session from last more than 1 hour. So it becomes a bit hectic to have such a long session of almost more than 2 hours. But I will try my best to handle the session in such a way that we can learn something. And at the outset, I would like to share with you that when I joined this session some 5 to 10 minutes before, some of the queries has been raised at some of the participants, and that gives me an idea how to start this presentation. And one of the participants, I think that was Shankar, if I am right, he was asking regarding the SPSS and Stata. And Dr. Firdaus rightly answered that what I have seen from last few years, almost 5 to 10 years, we are in an era of what we call the softwareization. And unfortunately, we have forgotten the methodological base, methodological issues, theoretical base, and based on softwareization, because what these softwares and computers have, garbage in and garbage out, as long as we don't have theoretical understanding. That is why before proceeding or before going ahead with any of the technique, any of the software, any of the analysis, we must have basic theoretical understanding of the subject, basic methodological confirmation, then only we can understand what is right and what is wrong. With regard to softwares, there is no issue. All the softwares, I personally, I'm of the opinion that if you're comfortable with MS Excel, that is far better than other softwares, because MS Excel, where you have to do some of the exercise manually. And when you are doing things manually, that gives you basically a feeling what data says, what is right, what is wrong, what different variables are, and how they are being interpreted. That is why before proceeding my presentation regarding the multiple regression analysis, I have some basic points to share with you. Let me share my screen. Sir, is my screen visible?
Yes, sir, it's quite visible.
Okay, fine. Let me share with you that my presentation is basically of two parts. One, I will give you a theoretical understanding of basic concepts that will help you to understand the basic methodological issues. And second part of the presentation is we will go on some hands-on training, because Dr. Firdaus may have already shared with you in the group that this second part will be on SPSS. And through SPSS, we come up with one of the basic model, multiple regression model, and then try to interpret the results. Fine. If you see this presentation where I have shown the test you choose depends upon the level of measurement. And level of measurement is with regard to data. As long as you are not well versed with data, because all the statistical analysis, all the statistical techniques are associated with data, because statistics by itself is the science of data. As in the first lecture, you may have gone through that when it comes to econometrics, this is basically the combination of theory, modeling, and then your data. Three things. What we, in simple words, say, it is theoretical economics, then mathematical models, and then the data. The combination of these three basically give us what we call the econometrics. And before proceeding or before estimating any of the model, either it is simple regression, either it is multiple regression, either it is the different types of regression models, which I will show you how many the types of regression models that you are going to face in your research or you are going to handle in your research. Basically, you must have the idea of data. What is data? That you have already gone through in your yesterday's lecture. How many types of data, what nominal, what is scale, what is interval data, because this will help you to choose the appropriate model. And when it comes to multiple regression, this is nothing but an advancement of what we call the simple regression. In simple regression, you have one dependent variable, one independent variable, and then you are basically trying to calculate or estimate the impact of independent variable on the dependent variable. Like in simple case, if some of you are from economics, or we can say in simple way, how one input is changing your output. What is the impact? And if you have more than one inputs, that becomes multiple, more than one. And when it comes to multiple regression, like I have taken here the simple examples that if you are going to test the IQ level, and IQ level is not affected by only the level of education, but it depends upon many other factors, right? Yeah, if your income, that is not only determined by your education level, that is determined by multiple socioeconomic factors. And if you're going to see the grade, or we say the academic performance of a student, that is not only the number of classes he had attended in one semester, but other factors as well. His or her family background, his or her IQ level, his or her, what we say, the socioeconomic characters, his or her approach towards understanding the subject, and number of items that variables that are basically affecting the dependent variable. So when we conclude, what Dr. Suhail has basically explained is simple and multiple regression, that when it comes to simple regression, we simply take one dependent variable, and when it comes to multiple regression, it includes more than one independent variable. And our objective when we are going to calculate, or when we are going to make the statistical analysis, regression analysis, our only objective is to develop a statistical model that will predict the value, what we call the dependent variable, how dependent variable is to be predicted based on the values of independent variable. But while predicting this value, while calculating this model, while coming up with achieving this goal, you have to take into account some of the preconditions. Like What is the theoretical background? What is the linkage? When we say theoretical background, that means, is there any linkage between the dependent variable and the independent variables? All independent variables, what we call linked theoretically with dependent variable. Then how symbolically, what we call the mathematical development of the model, how symbolically we can develop the model. Then how data is to be collected, what type of data we are basically dealing, and then only we can come up with the what we call statistical estimations. Means you must have the idea of methodology of basic econometrics, theoretical foundation, mathematical development of the model, then data collection, and then only you can go with calculations. And when it comes to multiple regression, you have many multiple regression models, starting from linear, then goes to non-linear. And in linear, you have again linear, dummy, interconnection. We are not going to deal with all these because from my personal experience, a 1 week workshop must be on simple regression model. Then only we can discuss all these models. But here I will try my best to explain the simple regression model. Then you can go ahead with other models, if not by yourself, but at least with the help of some book or some of the resources you can deal with. Because base is same, then there are minor changes when it comes to other types of regression models like dummy, interconnection, log, exponential, and all other models, right? Now, as Dr. Suhail has already explained this simple regression model. Here you can see we have y, that is dependent variable, and you have x1, x2, so on to xk. These are basically n number or k number of independent variables. Here in simple regression, there is only one independent variable, but in case of multiple regression, there are more than one independent variables. And again, assumptions may have already been covered by the Dr. Suhail. I'm not going to deal with this again, because when we go to practical part, there I will try to explain the assumption that is basically associated, especially associated with the cross-sectional data that already you have covered in, yes, maybe covered in yesterday's lecture. It is a simple idea that a dependent variable is number of children, that is dependent variable, and independent variable is education and family income. This is a simple multiple regression model with two independent variables affecting the one dependent variable, and both are to be calculated. Now we can say the number of children in a family, how many number of children, on what factors the number of children in a family depend, education level, family income. There may be one more variable, that is socioeconomic characters. There may be one more factor, that is religious factor, what and what not. You can add n number of variables. But when we go to practical part, I will tell you why are we in such a position that we can incorporate n number of elements, more than 2, 3, what we call the variables, independent variables, or we are supposed to restrict to somewhere. That I will let you know once we go to the practical part. Hypothesis testing and all that had been covered by Dr. Suhail. Let me go to practical part. Yes, one thing I can tell you, I think Dr. Suhail may have shown you the regression line when it comes to simple linear regression. There we can show, we can say an idealistic regression line by simply drawing a regression line. And the problem with geometrical representation of the data becomes problematic when you have more than two variables. That means what we are dealing with two-dimensional frameworks generally, but when it is more than when we have more than two variables, generally the multiple regression case, we are facing the problem of what we call the dimensional problem. That is why mathematics or mathematical economics, mathematical modeling has the beauty that it caters n number of variables, that we don't have the problem of what we call this dimensional problem. That is one of the limitation that we face while we are dealing with this multiple regression. So before going ahead with theoretical background, I would like to go directly into SPSS. Then I will let you how to calculate multiple regression and explain one by one the result that will help you to set your models in your research, and then accordingly you can interpret all those models, right? There are some queries. Okay. Okay. Shall I share my screen, SPSS screen? I think
yes, please.
Okay, I think you may have already got the message in your group regarding the installation of SPSS. Those who have already installed may open your SPSS. We will go step by step, and then accordingly you can repeat that. If you face any problem, you will let me know. And one more important thing, that I haven't shared any Excel or data file in the group. The reason is we will go with the sample data set that is already pre-installed in the SPSS. That will help us basically to do exercise quickly, one. Number two, you all can repeat that very sample data set on all the models you are going to deal days ahead. That is why I have not shared any other data set that you are going to install. Simply, I will show you how that we can use the pre-installed data set in Excel, and we will do the multiple regression analysis in the same manner. Just wait for a few seconds. SPSS is opening. Those who have already installed, may please open your SPSS. Go to home page, and just few seconds. It takes a few months. Yeah.
So you have to share the SPSS screen.
Yeah. Let me share SPSS screen. SPSS. Is this visible?
Yes, sir. It's visible.
Okay. Now, before proceeding, this SPSS screen is like your Excel. Okay, there is no major, difference between the two. Although there is variable view, data view, I'm not going to discuss it. I think majority of you maybe have been dealing with this. SPSS required login ID. We have already sent you a message in the group that please, those who have, they may please install. And those who have not installed yet, they may kindly follow the steps, note them, and then you can do it by yourself. If you face any problem after this workshop, you can approach me anytime. Now, I have already told you that we are going to do this exercise with the pre-installed data that is already with the SPSS. And the objective of that very pre-installed data is to do the exercise with the data sets that are with SPSS by itself. You have to simply go on File, Open Data, Open Data, and here you will see a dialog box come. Then you click here where it comes look in. You go and search in C file in your C drive. C drive. You click Windows C drive. C drive. Are you following me? Then go to Program Files. And in Program Files, you will see IBM. Click on IBM, SPSS, Statistics. Mine is SPSS 23. That is, here comes SPSS 23. If you are dealing with 20, 21, 18, and you will accordingly get SPSS of same name. Okay. Then you can go here. Are you following me? Anyone please respond?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay. Then you can go on samples. And here in samples, you will see here are many data files. Okay. Those who are following can go ahead, and there is one file. If you see, that is, sorry, shall I repeat this? Shall I repeat this?
Yes, sir. So where do we have to search the file? You said we have to go to the file option.
I will repeat, and I will go step by step. you simply click on File, then
Okay.
click on Open, then Data, and here you have to select your C drive, that is in your PC. C drive you have to select. From C drive, click on Program Files, right? And in Program Files, within the Program Files, you will get IBM. If you click on IBM, you will get SPSS, then Statistics, then the version of SPSS you are dealing, and then go to Samples, and then click on English, and you will get these data files. Is this clear now? Is this clear now?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay,
There
fine.
were two options. One was program files and one was program files H86. Should I
No,
go
program
for
files. You go for program files. There comes IBM.
Okay.
And when you see there are n number of data files, these all files are for the purpose of doing the statistical exercises. Okay, you can use any file. What I have done, one of the exercises I was doing to help you people to understand this multiple regression, I have chosen this employee data. You can click on and you will see data comes on SPSS, right?
So your SPSS screen has gone.
Wait. Is this okay now?
Not yet. Yeah.
Yes,
It
sir,
is
it's
visible
visible.
now? Okay, fine.
Yes.
Let me know if anyone got this data set in their SPSS homepage.
Yes, sir, we got it.
Yes, sir.
Right. If somebody is yet to get this one, he can note the point steps, and then later on he can do the exercise. And if he or she faces any problem, they can approach me anytime. This is the file, right? And if you see here, leaving aside this ID, you have variables: gender, date of birth, education, job category, salary. This is salary begin. That means the basic salary. Job time, from how many months he is working in the company, and previous experience. And that is basically minority with regard to religion. If you see, here data is of two types. One is categorical and one is nominal. And when we are dealing here in this multiple regression analysis, we basically go with the nominal data, not the categorical data. That means gender and minority. These are two categorical data variables. We are not going to deal with them. And here you have to take the note of this, that our problem is, or our objective is, the factors that determine the salary of an employee. That is this. Salary of employee is determined by education level, job category, basic salary, job time, what we call experience in the company, from how many months he is in the company, and previous experience, if he has any previous experience. Rest you have minority and gender. That is not going to, we are not going to take into account, because these are dichotomous variables, as I have already shown you in the initial slide, very first slide, that there you are supposed to go with, handle with different models. Then comes the date of birth. That is not our basically interest. Now our total variable, which we are going to take into account, independent variable, is education level affecting your salary? Is job category affecting salary? Is initial salary affecting your what we call current salary? This current salary. Is job time in the company affecting your salary? And is previous experience affecting your current salary? Right? These are dependent and independent variables. Is this clear? Now, for the purpose of conducting, because like in Stata earlier, Dr. Suhail was showing you, he may have shown you there are two approaches of conducting the regression analysis or any of the analysis in SPSS. One is through windows and one is through commands. And same is the case with SPSS. Here again, there are two approaches to conducting the analysis. One is window-based, one is command-based. Here in this session, we are going to deal with window-based. And similarly, in the same fashion, you can do it in Stata, in window-based. There is no problem, either in SPSS or in window Stata. Both have the facility or the feature of conducting the analysis in Windows approach as well as in command-based approach. Here in Windows approach, you have to go to analyze, then regression. From regression, because we are dealing with linear regression, and you will get this dialog box. I will repeat again. Analyze. You are interested in regression. From regression, here we have linear regression. And when you click on linear regression, you have this dialog box, right? Now, what is your dependent variable? That is this current salary. That is in the dependent variable. Your independent variable is education level, employee category, beginning salary, months hired, and previous experience. If we take only 4 variables, you can add other as well, because this job category is again categorical value. I have taken one dependent variable, that is your current salary is determined by employee's level of education. This variable, your basic salary or beginning salary when you have joined the company, your job type, how long you are in the company, and your previous experience. How much experience do you have previous? I have exempted 3 or rather 4 variables. One, your gender, your education, job category, and minority, because all the 3 are categorical and this date of birth is not our interest. That is why I have not taken this. So I have taken 1 dependent and 4 independent variables. Then click on statistics. Here in statistics, if you see, here are different or scarce and descriptive. We are not interested in all these, but we are interested in this collinearity. That is important. I will discuss it when a result dialog box comes in front of you. This is collinearity that we are supposed to check, and what is it is important is why I have ticked on it. I will let you know. Then there are other tests as well, but they are not applicable when we are dealing with cross-sectional data. They are applicable like Durbin, Watson, and all that. They are applicable when you are dealing with different types of data like time series and all that. Okay, click. Then go on plots. Yes. Let us wait for a while. Yeah, we can take it. In case of plots, you have histogram and normality, because you may have also noted that while Dr. Sohair's lecture, that normality test is very much important. That is why I have put a tick on it. Then save. Yes. Here are 2 types of predictors. One is, these predicted values and residuals. One is unstandardized and one is standardized. I will let you know in a while what these are. I have tick on unstandardized, not unstandardized. I will let you know in a while what is this once we come up with output file. Then go on options. That is done. 5% level of significance. And I think this much is clear. Statistics, collinearity, plots, histogram and normality plot. Save. You have to go for, that is your choice. You can use both. I will let you know what is the difference once we go on output table. Then options, it is 5% level of significance. Again, we'll let you know in the output table. I think this you may have followed. Have you followed this much?
Yes, sir. Yes.
Yes,
Okay.
sir. Yes.
Fine. Shall I click OK? Here is the output file. Right? these
You
are.
have to share output file again.
Shall I repeat this step?
No, output file is not visible.
Is output file visible now? I will explain it in a while in Word because I have pasted it, and I will explain bit by line by line. Is this output file visible?
No,
It's
no, it
visible
isn't.
for us, but not for you. On your screen, it's not there, but for us, it has opened.
Okay, wait. Let me share again. Okay, is this visible now?
Absolutely visible. Yes, sir.
Yes, sir, it's
Okay.
now visible.
Okay. Fine. And I hope those who have done or followed my steps, they may have got the same results, right? Now, basically, I have done this exercise early in the morning. I will go on a Word file. There, I have make some additional alterations, and you can follow. If the results are same, then we can discuss it. Let me share one more page. That is, wait. Share. Please wait for few seconds, sir. Let me share. Windows. The Word file visible?
Yes, sir, it's visible.
Okay. Let me start with a research hypothesis. Basically, the problem we were dealing with was the determinants or the factors that are responsible for the current salary of an employee. And we have considered 4 variables: education, beginning salary, job type, and previous experience. 4 independent variables have been taken into consideration. And so we have proposed 4 null hypotheses. Already discussed in your first part of the lecture, that what null and what alternate is. Also, you may have also gone through in yesterday's lecture how these hypotheses have been formulated and what this is. Now, given those 4 basic hypotheses, the output file you have got from after running the simple multiple, what we call the linear multiple regression, you have got the output file. Same output file I have pasted in this Word file. And now we are going to explain it one by one. First table, what we call the table you got in the output file is ANOVA. And you must know what is the significance of this ANOVA output table when it comes to multiple regression analysis, linear multiple regression analysis. Basically, this ANOVA, as I have shown in null hypothesis, model does not exist. Alternate hypothesis, model exists. And I have explained it a bit. All the independent variables don't jointly affect the dependent variable. That means this is a test that verifies, are your independent variables associated with the dependent variable? Are they really affecting your dependent variable? That is what I was talking earlier. Before proceeding with any model, you must have theoretical understanding. If you have theoretical understanding, then that theoretical justification is being explained or verified by this ANOVA table that is shown in your output file when you are conducting this regression analysis in SPSS. And here, what is important is level of significance. And you may have already gone through what basically this p-value level of significance is. If I say in simple words, P-value is nothing but probability of doing wrong, if I am right. That means what is the percentage that you are doing wrong. And in case of social sciences, sometimes we consider even 10% wrongdoing is also right, because in social sciences, we are dealing with human factor. And controlling that very uncontrolled variable like a human variable is very much impossible. That is why we are taking the chances of doing wrong up to 5%, it is normal, and sometimes we take even 10%. Totally agree. Okay, fine. Explained very well. All right. Then here the significance level, that is, if you show the, if you can see this significance level, that is 0.00. That means these independent variables are significantly determining or affecting your dependent variable, that is salary. Means these are the exact variables you have proposed the theory that these types of variables are basically affecting the salary of an employee, current salary of the employee, and the ANOVA table basically gives the signal or validates your theory. That is why we see the p-value is 0.05 is significant. So we reject the null hypothesis that was all the dependent variables don't jointly affect the dependent variable. Sorry, all the independent variables don't affect the dependent variable jointly. That is, this ANOVA is basically a test, a validation for joint declaration of variables, are they associated with dependent or not, right? Then go to t-test. There is big difference between t-test and what we call the ANOVA. Basically, t-test deviates from ANOVA in a way that all independent variables are individually affecting your dependent variable or not. Means that was basically ANOVA was model testing check. This is variable testing check, or variables affecting your or independent variables individually affecting your dependent variable or not. And if you see all the four variables, they are significantly affecting your dependent variable, that is current salary, because this significance level shows value is less than 0.05. Suppose if this value would have been 4 here, if this value would have been 3 here, and if the value would have been 6 here, for example, we would have predicted that education level is, because again, this is less than 5%. Education level is significantly affecting your salary. Beginning salary is again less than 5%, affecting your current salary. Previous experience is not significantly affecting your, because this is more than 5%, right? And that is the difference between T and ANOVA. T is basically signifying individual significance of individual values, and ANOVA is basically validating the whole model. Now, here one more thing, that is, I think one of the participant had asked one question, that what is this VIF, if I remember rightly. Basically, this VIF and tolerance is nothing. They are inversely related in the sense that if one is more, another must be less. One. And what they are basically checking, they are checking multicollinearity. And the full form of this, how they are checking, and what is multicollinearity? Multicollinearity means if you have independent variable education level, beginning salary, previous experience, months in the hire or in the job, these are your independent variables. Multicollinearity basically shows, are they 4 variables, 2, 1, what we call the independent variables, aren't they correlated with each other? If they are correlated with each other, then determining their individual impact may not be appropriate. If they are correlated, then their impact may be joint, or what we call may be inflated. They may increase the chances of standard error, or they may increase the chances of detecting this coefficient, जिसको आप beta coefficient का नाम देते हैं, ये भी अभी हम explain करेंगे. So this VIF and tolerance level is nothing. Their tolerance, they are simply the tests through which we detect multicollinearity. And the threshold level for this tolerance is, this must not go below 0.2 and VIF must not go above 5. And if VIF is less than 5, you can conclude that this variable, independent variable, is not correlated with any other variable. Like if you see education level, VIF is 1.89, cross-check by tolerance, that is 0.0529. And this is, we can say 0.05. This may not go below what we call the 0.2. Here it is 1.89, that is less than 5, that detects. This is not correlated. Again 1.7, not correlated. Again 1.2, not correlated. That simply means if it goes plus 5, you say correlation is present. And if correlation is multicollinearity is present, then they may deviate your results. Your results may not be appropriate. You can go for tests, and there are n number of tests how we can what we call this overcome from that very multicollinearity. One of the best approach or simplest approach is overcome from the multicollinearity. We simply drop that very variable that has the multicollinearity and then check, go for the model fitting or goodness of fit, that I will discuss. And simply here you have two things you have to keep in your mind. One is T, one is F. It is individual variability, it is model testing. Then go ahead, goodness of fit.
Sir, one question.
Yes. Right.
Sir, go to the result page, sir.
This T test.
T test.
Right.
There are the coefficient values there, sir. One coefficient is not significant. For example, previous experience is not significant.
Shankar, let me move ahead. I am yet explaining T test, their individual impact. Simple, I know what is your point. Your point is with regard to this.
Yes, sir. No. What I'm trying to say that if I remove the variable, if it is not significant, I remove the variable and run the regression model again. The result are same or not? The coefficient value is.
I will let you know. I will let you know. You wait. I noted your question. If I am going to explain you this, I mean in the mid of this, that will disturb the whole class. I have noted it. I will first response will be yours question. I have noted it, Shankar. Let me move ahead. Come up with a bit, go to bit conclusion. Then I will come with your question.
Okay.
Here comes the goodness of fit. And this is basically the report card of the model. As R square, you already know that is nothing but this R square that shows the capacity or the power of independent variables to explain the variation, explain the impact on dependent variable, right? And here this model basically shows that 81% of the variation in your current salary, or we can say the change in current salary of the employee is 81% explained, affected by these four variables. Rest 19% may be other variables. That is, some of the participants were asking regarding your error term, U, that is unexplained. That is why there is around 19% that is not explained by these variables. Or there you can do one more thing. You can incorporate more variables, but that will give us one more problem. Here you are seeing that here is adjusted R square. I think you may have gone through in previous presentation that there is difference between adjusted R square and R square. Again, this adjusted R square is checkmate. Why I'm saying that this is checkmate? Basically, what adjusted R square is doing, that it shows if there is huge difference, large difference between R square and adjusted R square, that indicates some insignificant, some of the independent variables that are not important for the model. they have been incorporated, right? And if you see there, the difference is very meager. And that means the independent variables that have been incorporated in the model, 4 independent variables, they are sufficient to explain the variation in the dependent variable. That means adjusted R square significance signifies simply, isn't there any, we can say, the variable that is not important, that is not theoretically fit for the dependent variable, isn't any such variable that had been incorporated in the model, right? Then going to this. Now, I think you have already gone through what is the structure or the framework of a basic regression model. That means you take simply dependent variable here, and you take independent variables from this side. And from those independent variables, what is important is you have, if you see this where one of the participants, Shankar, was asking some questions. Let me make two things clear. When you see this output file, this is very important. In addition to having t-test and all that, it is very important to understand this very output file, because here are two columns. One is unstandardized and one is standardized. You must know that you can use both, either this as your output, you can interpret your results on this, or you can interpret your results on this. Choice is yours. Now, I will let you know the difference between the two. The only difference between the two is when it comes to unstandardized, that means you are using the raw data. And when it comes to standardized, you are rescaling the data in order to make the comparisons easy. Sometimes we make the use of this value, and sometimes we make, it depends upon the data, type of data you are dealing. You must have gone through the type of data, what is the problem when it comes to comparison, when it comes to intervals and scaling. But you must know that these are actual data, what you are dealing with, but these standardized coefficients are when you are scaling for comparisons. Now, coming up with the interpretation of these, this is the same file that is here, same output table that is here. If you see, yeah, significance level and this. Leaving aside constant, that is basically the intercept. Education level, here, if I increase the size of this, we can put the simple regression model like this way. Here, leaving aside this, because this is intercept, means when none of the factors is this, then your current salary will move this way, and what are its repercussions and all that you may have gone through in the basic what we call the regression analysis. Now coming to the level of education here, with each year, because if you see the SPSS file, there the education level has been taken in such a way, like 15 means you are in the third of your university, 14 means you are your second year. That means after +2, how many years you have spent in the university. Here, 719.10, that simply represents value is significant, right? And here, this 719, that simply means with each year increase in level of education, your current salary increases by 719.10 rupees or dollars or pounds in which currency you have. Then if your beginning salary rises by, with each rise in beginning salary, suppose your basic salary is 10,000. If your basic salary increases by 1,000, right? Your current salary goes on increasing by 1.75. Similarly, now the question is, your previous experience is negatively affecting your current level of salary. There may be some data problem. Yeah, there may be, this may be with intention, as it had been pre-installed in your SPSS. Now, the Shankar that was asking that this variable is affecting negatively. And if we are going to drop this variable, basically, when we are going to drop this variable, that means in research, we are not objective, we are subjective, because we try to pretend that these variables are positively affecting. And that is not the objective research. Objective research is you put your data, you set your theory, you develop your model, you use your data, you come up with the results. Those results, either they are in favor of you or not in favor of you. They are in favor of the government or in opposite to the government. That is not your job. This is what data is saying. There is no need to dropping the variable because your R square, that is 81. There is no thumb rule, and some says that when it is more than 70%, it is okay. But your R square is 81%, or 0.81, 81% of the variance is explained by these variables. So there is no need to drop this variable. More importantly, your adjusted R square is very close to R. This adjusted R square is very close to R square. That means there is no insignificant or unimportant variable that had been incorporated in your model. So dropping this variable is not going to justify our research problem because this variable is significant. Here, again, one more test. Your p-value is less than 5%. It is significant. So dropping this is not the problem. One more test here. The VIF also says that this has no multicollinearity. That is not correlated with any of the independent variable. So dropping this variable is not going to deal with this problem. Then months, again, with each rise in month, your salary rises by $166.11 or rupees with the each monthly rise in your experience, work in the company. That is basically how we interpret the regression models. May I know how much time we have left?
So we have
We are
just
having
5 or 6 minutes. We have to wind up
Okay.
the session by 8:30.
Okay. If you, I will not go to residual analysis then, because that will again take almost half an hour. If you have queries, you can raise your queries, and I will try my best to satisfy you. And let me
So I
learn
had some,
from you.
yeah, I had some queries regarding the data that you've entered. Am I
Okay.
audible?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So when we enter data like education level you have put, it is the number of years you have used or the class levels you have used. Like somebody who is a postgraduate
Mm-hmm.
has completed say 10, 15 years of education. So you're putting
Right.
it. So you're putting 50.
Number of years. Yeah, you are right. This is number of years. That is what I was talking. This is after +2, how many years you have spent in the university or in the college, right? That is, if it is 15, that means 12 plus 3, that is 15. If it is 8, that means he has already only 8 years of education. That is up to 5th, 4th, 3rd, whatever it may be. These are basically the number of years he had spent in education.
So, and one of your data was missing. So we don't include that in our analysis. There was
Not
one missing data.
right. If you can add something of your own choice, okay, the results will be different. And at that time, there may be the level of what we call the R square may increase. Okay, there is one more chance of more closeness to adjusted R square and R square, because as already I have told you that this is adjusted R square is like a checkmate. It basically validates your independent variables. You can do it, and I have made when I was doing this exercise early in the morning, I have take note of this. But this is intentional in order to cross verify how you can repeat this and how you can how it can help to understand the results in a better way.
Okay, sir. Because while dealing with some secondary data, I've seen that there are two way of entering the same variable like education number of years, and education is the highest level of education level attained by the family members or respondent
Right,
like that.
right.
So that whichever variable we take, it's going to affect our result, isn't it, sir? Like the way which we are taking it, is it we are taking the number of years of education, or are we
Hmm.
taking the highest education attained by the particular respondent or its family
Again,
members or his or her?
right. I got your question. Again, it depends upon the nature of data you are using. Basically, we can convert this data into categorical data. And using categorical data becomes again the problematic, right? You can convert this data into simply the qualification. That becomes again, the problematic. That is basically the research problem you are going to deal. That is why in the very first slide, you must know what type of data you are using. You must know the nature of the problem, and that is basically the theoretical background of the research problem you are going to deal with. And as long as you are not in such a position to handle with the theoretical understanding, you can't go with any type of data set. You use categorical data, you will come up with different results. And interpreting those very results is impossible as long as you don't have the idea of what you call the dummy regression, right? You don't have the idea of categorical values, you can't interpret it in what we call the continuous data set. These are some of the, again, theoretical problems which you have to go through once you are dealing with any of the research problem. So again, I am repeating that having the clear concepts of theoretical understanding is very much important when you are dealing with data analysis, because these types of softwares give you whatever you make input, they will generate output. They have no problem, but interpreting them is very much important, and interpretation needs theoretical understanding.
I fully agree with you, sir. Thank you so much for your vivid
Sir,
explanation.
I have a small query.
I have
Please.
Regarding the hypothesis part, in the very first page of this word file, you have shown 4 hypotheses, research hypothesis. Firstly, maybe you have taken educational level is positively related with current salary. So, are these hypotheses basically the null hypothesis, or are they the alternative hypothesis?
Let me check.
Yes, sir.
This one, education
Yes,
level
sir.
is really
Positively related to the current salary. So, is this a null hypothesis or alternative?
What basically null is?
There is no significant difference between the two variables.
Right.
Yeah.
Means 2 variables of which we are talking, there is no difference between what we are talking. Means when we say with the rise in education, with the increase in level of education, your current salary is going to increase. That what we are basically hypothesizing, proposing. And what the result is saying, yes, same with the rise in education level, that what we call the your salary is rising. So basically this is alternate hypothesis, not the hypothesis. When we say H1, H2, H3, these are not when we are writing H1, H0, this is not that very representation. What we call the representation of null hypothesis. This is simply I have put it H1, H2, H3, H4. Not in H1 means null, H2 means alternate, H3 means null. It is not like that. Don't confuse with this.
Okay, so sir, all these are alternative hypotheses.
Alternative hypothesis of which we are checking.
Okay, sir. For the 4th hypothesis, that is about previous experiences positively related. Now, suppose the p-value is less than 0.05.
Right.
That means that is significant.
That is significant.
But in our results, the result was, I think, negative.
That is negative, but significant. Inverse. Here, this is rejected, not accepted. Previous experience is positively that we have proposed, but this hypothesis has been rejected. When we have conducted the test, when we have used the data, the output file says that this H4 for the hypothesis has been rejected by the data.
Can I rewrite the hypothesis?
Okay.
Previous experience is negatively related to the current salary of employment based on the result. And I rewrite the alternative hypothesis. Is right, sir?
Sorry?
The previous experience is negatively related to the current salary of the employment. This is my null alternative hypothesis based on result.
You want to say that can we rewrite this hypothesis?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Either you write this or that. That is not the point. Point is that is in line with your question. I think it is Shankar asking. That is in line with your question. Basically, our common sense said that previous experience is positively affecting your current salary, right? That is our common sense. What says what is our experience? But
a positive relationship.
Right. And in that very context, or given our theoretical understanding, we had proposed this hypothesis. That means this hypothesis had been rejected. We are not supposed to change our hypothesis. And basically, the objective research is you hypothesize. Hypothesis is a tentative statement. You hypothesize and you test that. Is that right or wrong? If that had been accepted, okay, not accepted, no problem. Then you have to interpret your results in that way. That is not the problem. You are not supposed
Okay,
to
sir.
change your hypothesis.
So what if the p-value is more than 0.05 in case of the previous experience? Do we accept that hypothesis?
Okay, if p-value is more than 0.05.
Yeah.
That means previous experience is not affecting your current salary. That means the value is not significant. Value has no such importance to affect your current salary. Either it is positive or negative. Positive or negative is second step. First step is your p-value. If your p-value is less than 5%, then we go to is it affecting positively or negatively, right? First test is p-value. That is not the point. And there is no need to worry when it comes to positive or negative. What is important is your p-value.
Okay, got it, sir. Thank you so much.
Sir, one more question.
If anyone has any question, because we have already crossed the time, so we can just take 1 or 2 questions.
Yes, you can ask, please.
Sir, the coefficient value, the coefficient education level, please go to the education level.
Right, this one.
This is okay, sir. Okay, na? If I remove the one variable,
right,
the coefficient of education value is 719 is again come or any increasing or decreasing this value?
No. Yeah, you can do it. You can do this exercise because one is you are basically scrapping some of the variables, right? That means your model is now not the perfect model. And for example, it is like this. Your level of education, your marks grade code is determined by 3 factors. One, the way your teacher delivering, the way IQ level you have, and the way you are repeating this all at your home, right? Suppose you are doing the regression analysis and trying to understand the impact of these 3 variables. And let us say 10% is 10% of your grade card is determined by the teacher level of lecture delivered by your teacher. 15% is your IQ level, and 20% is explained by your practice at your home, right? Now, if you are not taking into account the practice at your home, what would be the impact? Impact would be that you are only taking 2 variables, and there are the chances of improving the level of impact by those variables, and the value would not be significant. Reason is because you are basically framing the model that is incomplete. You are basically losing one of the important variable that has significance, but you are not taking into account. That is why I'm again repeating, you first go for theoretical footing of the model, theoretical understanding of the concept, research problem, then come up with the variables that you are taking as independent variables.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you.
So we have to conclude the session now. It's already 8:36. To conclude, we'd like to extend our heartfelt thanks to both the resource persons and participants for their valuable contributions to today's sessions. Dr. Naveed, your insightful presentation, thought-provoking discussion, and active engagement have made this day 2 both meaningful and enriching. We deeply appreciate this time, effort, and academic spirit each one of you brought to this platform. We look forward to your continued participation in the upcoming sessions as well. Thank you all.
Thank you, sir, and thank you all the participants for their active participation. Although I have already told you that taking this session, I mean, second session is very hectic, both for participants as well as for me. But hopefully I have done justice with the lecture, and participants may have gone through the overview of what we call the multiple regression analysis. And I hope if they feel any problem anytime, they can contact me, and I am available for everyone who is facing any problem with regard to basic research. I'm
Excuse me,
available
sir.
for this.
Can you please
Right.
share this MS Word case study? Please, can you share here?
Yeah, I
It's
will
really insightful,
share
actually.